What is up, my Ammonites? It's your boy Yen Guy, and welcome back to, I guess, another live react. Now, I know it's better. Oh, okay, that's better. Back underwater. Yeah, so I've been scrolling around a few things, and I've been, dealing with I've been just scrolling around, doing my daily routines, and just wrapping up a special that is actually scheduled for October, when I suddenly see that somebody has actually challenged my dragon again. And hello, Raptor, how's it going? Welcome back to the stream. Now, yeah, I was actually just going around, and I see that someone has actually challenged my Abaddon dragon again. So let me go ahead and see if I can't find that somewhere. Return of a dragon. I'll see this. Here it is. This is the video. All right. Let me also see if I've even got the web right. Okay. And... okay. Is it the same person who challenged you over and over again and failed in a humiliating defeat? Actually, it's a different person this time. Which is actually surprising, because, well, it's like... I mean, it's actually kind of a relief that it's actually someone different, because it's like, are we seriously dealing with this again? How many times do I have to beat you, old man? I've beaten you every single time! You know? But no, it's actually someone by the name, hold on, what was his name? That one Paraceratherium. Well, yeah, and I've also been watching a few other things as well, and I'm actually curious. I've kind of watched a little bit, and I kind of have I watched a little bit, and yeah, I'm just gonna scroll right through to my parts, you know, gotta make sure I, don't get too copyright struck. I mean, there are a few things that I have to critique and all that as well. But, yeah. Oh, oops. Hold on, let me go ahead and scroll that down right there. And without further ado, let's see what you have to say. What is your beast? Acrocanthotherium. A lot of thus.
After Dracocetus 2.0 success, Parasite Genetic Tech has decided to take our interests to the land with a new hype.
And this is also the same video that is constantly reminding me that I should really consider releasing my Dragon of the Seas. For those that haven't been paying attention to my have only been paying attention to my videos and not watching the live streams, this would be where I've actually created a sea dragon specifically designed to kill Vex, which is Goji Guy's aquatic hybrid. Specifically, that is a little off. Can you can hear me, right? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Okay. Hold on. Hang on. Let me do a little quick test real quick. Hold on.
After Dracocetus 2.0 success, Parasite Genetic Tech has decided to take our interests.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. I got the web down. Hold on. Hold on, about right there. Okay, let me just go ahead and let me know if this sounds right.
To the land with a new hybrid we've prepared. Now, we're going... After Dracocetus 2.0 success, Parasite Genetic Tech has decided to take our interests to the land with a new hybrid we've prepared.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, you're right. It's a little fuzzy. I had the volume of that down. Was that better? Yeah, it's all right. I think I figured it out. Hopefully it goes well. I'm gonna be paying attention to you guys. Give me the feedback. All right. Let's see here. Okay. So, this is a beast war born of innovation. Acrocanthotherium. There's a lot of thuthas. And, well, it's all so echoey a bit. Alright. Hopefully the audio is alright. And it might also be the video itself. But, either way, we're gonna get into this. Hopefully, I'll address them later.
After Dracocetus 2.0 success, Parasite Genetic Tech has decided to take our interests to the land with a...
Again, okay, this video right here, this is already starting off a very strong reminder of... It's probably constantly asking me, when am I going to release Poseidon? Well, there are a lot of things I need to work on, and a few things that... don't worry, it is coming. I've actually did a project that is something else entirely, but it's going to release in October. So, So, is this the guy who challenged you with his own hybrid to pick a fight with you? Apparently this is, but it is not this thing. It's actually a different creature entirely. But this picture right here, this is a huge reminder for me to do a video for Poseidon. For those that don't know, I've made a massive monster designed to be the dominant creature of the seas. It's not a Lagiacrus copy, but he still packs a punch. Alright, continuing onward.
New hybrid we've prepared. Now, we're going to run down the genome.
Yep.
First, Acrocanthosaurus was the base for being a very muscular frame, along with a nasty bleeding bite that could inflict major lacerations, causing blood loss.
Acrocanthosaurus, yeah?
Next is Allosaurus to add onto the traits of the Acrocanthosaurus, along with sturdying the skull to resist high pressures and thrashing of opponents. It will give the jaw a wider gape of 90 degrees.
That's a pretty wide open mouth, if I do say. And if I remember correctly, there was a documentary that said it would use its head like an axe, so... already looking pretty powerful.
To help bite onto prey. Now for forelimbs, we added Smilodon for its strong, robust arms to wrestle and grapple prey. Now this will make our hybrid a quadruped, but we'll have other stuff thrown in to help it be more comfortable quadruped.
A lot of theropods are being quadrupeds. Am I the only one noticing this? I mean, it's a cool concept, but... quadrupedal theropods. This is quite a trend.
But this will also make it a more sturdy animal, and less likely
Logically
to
speaking,
be
it makes
knocked over.
sense.
To add on to the arms, we are using Maip for its claws.
Oh yes, a Mega
These deadly
Raptor.
weapons can be used to cut into and disembowel prey as our hybrid grapples with it, wrestling them down and ripping chunks out with its arm.
Okay, one small critique on the claws. If it's a quadruped, those claws are gonna dull quite a bit. I mean, they obviously can't be too big, because if they are, and it's a quadruped, those claws are not gonna be that sharp. Alright, moving on.
And also to add on to the arms is the chimp.
That's a good solution, actually. Having hands that'll make it do knuckle walking, that'll actually keep those claws sharp.
Which will give us more dexterous range of motion and better control, as well as allowing for a bigger brain to use tools, formulate strategies, and be more tactical on the battlefield. Next is the saltwater crocodile.
Okay, there are a lot of intelligent animals that are being used in the genomes. I actually wonder if someone's actually used a stupid hybrid. I mean, to be fair, it's probably not the best thing, but it's a very fun thing to think about. Let's see. What are the big 3 genomes that are being used for the brain? Let's see. We got the crow-type genome, which includes the raven, crow, etc. You got the dolphin class, the cetacine class, which is, well, whales and dolphins, specifically beluga and orca. And there's also the primates. Those are some pretty big brainers. Those are the 3 big brains that are being used in hybrids. Well, apes are also used intelligence as close to human intelligence due to them having the ability to adapt. Yep, that is true. But there are other intelligent animals, so... yeah, that's just something I noticed.
To enhance the hybrid's immune system, to protect against diseases,
I use crocodile
and
too.
isolate injuries, to help them heal and keep the animal going in a fight, even though the injuries may be severe or minor. The next addition to the hybrid will be grizzly bears. Now, it will help with smell and stuff, but it's mostly here for the hip anatomy of bears that allow them to rear up and walk on their hind legs for a momentary period of time.
Okay.
And this will help our hybrid switch to a more bipedal stance for temporarily, so it can fight easier, as long also.
I was actually, for the hips, I would have expected you to maybe either use kangaroo or maybe some sort of, or one of the ground sloths, because if you're going to use ground sloth, that would actually allow for powerful hips to do just that. And they actually have decent sized tails. And if you're using theropod as a base genome, that's gonna help a lot, because unless the tail's gonna be removed entirely, because bears don't really have tails. They just have tiny little nubs.
To get more height and range to levy its larger forearms. Thus, the addition of the grizzly bear genome. The next and final addition to the hybrid's genome will be the mongoose.
Yeah, those are some feisty creatures. And there's some resistance to the venom. Yeah, I'll give credit where credit is due. But that does not make them invincible against venom. There are actually some venoms that can actually kill a mongoose. That's why they're so quick.
Now you may be wondering, what in the world is the mongoose doing here? And I will tell you why. To add added in venom resistance to, possible poisons he may ingest through snakes and mongooses' immunity to most snake venom. Now I don't.
Keyword: most snake venoms. There are a couple things that he has not accounted for, but we'll get to that later.
Know how it would affect with other venoms. I'd have to do some more research on that. But it gives Acrocanthitherium a minor, boost to the immune system and mostly snake-focused venoms and poisons, along with the help of the saltwater croc genome and its immune system.
Yeah.
But it also something it takes from also bears and the mongoose and all of its mammalian counterparts that are in its genome. It is loose, baggy skin.
Only at the torso, neck, and torso areas. If it's on the joint, elbows, ankles, and all those other joints that are on the limbs, that's actually tight skin.
We'll use this loose, baggy skin to grapple with opponents in...
How venom resistant is a honey badger? Pretty resistant, I would assume, but I wouldn't say it would do too well against high calibers like a black mamba. Yeah, that's the biggest killer that's the biggest killer snake in Africa, so yeah, mambas are nasty. By the way, how many hybrids have you made so far? I have lost count, if I'm gonna be honest. I mean, it's like maybe 5, but I haven't really done any videos as of late. Maybe I should do updated versions of those.
If it's ground,
anyway, moving on.
Be as fatal because the skin will stretch and allow it to get out, maneuver around opponents, and grapple with prey and opponents. Nearly forgot this one, but the Borealta pelta.
Okay, yeah, there's the armor, but that's not protecting the limbs. If it's against venom, I mean, sure, it's got a thick hide, but Megalania teeth. That is not a small lizard we're dealing with. Just saying.
Was added to add armor to the animal. But so that its armor doesn't negate the mobility of our creature, we genetically selected it to modify some of the existing osteoderms of the crocodile genome in the animal so that it can keep its mobility and flexibility without negating the fact of the armor, making it stiffer.
Okay, so it's got some... And so it's very tough at the most important parts, but extremely flexible on the lesser important parts. Keeping it more flexible. Let's see. You want to redesign that? Not quite yet, but I'm gonna get to that.
Except for the few actual big spikes may decrease mobility, but hopefully overall. Now I present to you Ares' high spine beast.
So the name is Ares then, huh? Well... Well...
This is Acrocanthitherium.
Okay, analyzing here. So he's challenged my hybrid, and they see that there is loose skin covering the vital throat right here, but there's no armor right here, here, and here. It only takes one good bite on either one of those, and it's game over. And I will explain why when he gets to the battle scenario.
Ares. Ares' high spine beast. Paraceragenetics Tech's prideful emperor of the land. Now, when designing this creature, we designed it as just a way to weed out hybrids that were going to be easier to deal with.
Okay, so it's a sweeper type build. Well, this is okay. It's a sweeper build. I can respect that. Alright.
We'll
Anyway,
leave the
moving.
harder to deal with hybrids to other companies.
I can see the flaws in his hybrid would become his downfall against one of your hybrids. Well, we'll get to that. No need to be so quick about it, but yeah, let's let him cook.
We're not Goji headquarters or Goji Center. We honestly don't have the resources to be like those companies. So we decided to thin the herd with acrocanthotherium so that only the best of the best could slip through the cracks. Now, most of our hybrids are designed to only have one. That few exceptions would be Dracocetus 2.0. The original Dracocetus was supposed to be only one. But so, Acrocanthotherium, our original individual, is Ares. He is the first one. Now, you may notice something different. Ares here is missing the beard shown in his little intro card. Now, that's something interesting about the species. Acrocanthotherium, as a species, has individual variation of their hair patterns. Sometimes they will grow beards in different variations. Some may even grow manes. Unlike Ares here, where it's just on his back, that's just a common trait amongst all of them. Some may have manes growing around their neck, and others may have beards and other variations of hair around the neck. Now, we can't really pinpoint where this came from, but it's an interesting trait that we've discovered in Acrocanthotherium. Now, we have presented this animal, and personally, he's my pride and joy, only behind the original Dracocetus, which I'm glad to find out that the original Dracocetus is in Goji Guy's top 5 favorite hybrids. Just, that's cool. Shout out to him. I mean, he has more followers than subscribers. Anyway.
Only because I did not submit Poseidon. Just another reminder of me trying to make that video. I am falling behind on everything. I'm so sorry, guys. Alright. This weekend, I'm gonna do my best to release this beast into the world. And I'm going to make it compete against as many hybrids in the seas as possible, starting with Vex. I'll even throw in a few theropods for good measure. So it's gonna be a big one. Yes, because he's a big one.
But yeah. Now, let's see if he is truly the beast of war we've designed him to be. But before we go over his combative abilities, I'd like to go over his size. So he weighs 10.6 tons.
Okay, yeah.
36 feet long. And 13
So he's pretty compact. I can definitely tell.
feet tall at the hip when, quad-wise. I'd like to go over his size. So he weighs 10.6 tons. He's 36 feet long. and 13 feet tall at the hip when, quadruped.
Yeah.
Because he can get taller.
Basically
like rearing up,
Tyrannosaurus
but
sized.
It's not usually how he would be. He
Just
has
less
a
than that,
range
yeah.
of 20 miles and a bite force of 16,000 newtons. He's not going to have the strongest bite. He doesn't have, honestly, the crazy iron shrew teeth, which, I'm going to go on a side tangent real quick. I find it kind of lazy. I don't know.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of... There actually are plenty of Tyrannosaurs that actually involve razor-sharp cutting styles, biting styles. I mean, there's Spletosaurus. That's where you could have started there. Just talking about the hip anatomy is all.
I don't like it, personally. Like a design aspect. I mean, cool, your creature has iron teeth. But it's like, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't care for it. But so, he's not going to be focused on raw bite force like Tyrannosaurus. He's going to be focused on bleeding out prey over a while as he wrestles it down. Now, tangent over. Time for him to face his combatants.
Okay. There are plenty of those, but we're gonna be focusing on his his beast against mine. Okay, gonna fast forward.
Last opponent. An aerial tyrant that spews heated venom.
Yep. There it is! There's my dragon!
Our next hybrid to face the Acrocanthotherium. That will be the Abaddon Dragon. Now for this one, we didn't have to bring the fight to it.
How many hybrids you got challenged by lately? Ever thinking about making a playlist of videos of people who challenged you? You know, I'm actually gonna have to do I'm gonna have to do a top 10 list. I have not done those in such a long time. I'm gonna have to do top 10 hybrids that have challenged my beasts. Top 10 beasts that challenged my beast. Alright, anyway, moving on.
Brought the fight to us. While Ares was relaxing in the New Mexico facility in our outdoor pen, which is one of our uncontrolled environments, just because we've been experimenting with other things that we've had to build specific biodomes to house. He was relaxing until the Abaddon Dragon came in with a surprise attack, spewing heated venom with a combination of bombardier beetle and spitting cobra.
Let me correct you on that statement right there. Okay, I know it's not your fault. I mean, it's what I designed it. You would assume it's entirely spitting cobra venom. But here's the thing. I use the venom glands and the fangs of the spitting cobra. But in actuality, I used sea crate venom. So it's actually a lot more potent than any venoms that are found on land. It is actually the most dangerous of all venoms. Now, let me go ahead and pull that up on sea crate venom. Sea crate venom. Okay. Yeah, of a highly venomous found in the Indo-Pacific. Yep. And the venom, here it is. Is a very powerful neurotoxin with a a neurotoxin with a very powerful substance that has a neurotoxin that disrupts the... Yeah, let's see, hold on, let's see, the lethal venom doses, and, how... Okay, so yeah, it's definitely got a deadly neurotoxin, which specifically means it can actually attack the nervous system, blocking out neurological pathways that can actually cause cardiac arrest. That is a and in the case of the sea crate, since it's living underwater, it's actually a lot more potent. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and I understand. So yeah, there's a little that's a little misconception. And there's also another venom that I use, but we'll get to that later.
Now, being spewed in the face, Ares was fuming. He was raging.
A little, also, yeah, it's definitely gonna be painful, but he won't just spray the first chance he gets. That's not what an animal with its ability to spray would actually do. Unless it was outside of its own element, like if it was underwater or something. I mean, a misconception of ranged weapons in nature, it's not the same way that us humans use it for defense or war. Though it is capable of doing so, that's actually not what you're going to do. So in the case of the Abaddon Dragon, it can spray first, but remember, I've been using various species that have high intelligence, specifically the American crow. So it's not gonna waste its venom to spray the first chance he's got. Instead, it's gonna fly down, sneak down while he's resting and sleeping, bite him in the ankle, and then it is off to the races. So it's gonna bite first, fly away, and wait for it to die. No mongoose venom is gonna last for way too long. And if it actually decides to charge, that's when the spray happens.
But the dragon did not account for one thing. Borealta pelta, giving Ares armored eyelids. Before the venom had a chance.
There's still the nostrils. If that neurotoxin goes into the respiratory system, that can be a very hard way to breathe. If it doesn't kill it immediately, it's gonna be a very painful burn in the nostrils. In the airways, it's definitely gonna hurt. And if it's the mouth, that's a mouthful of agonizing pain.
To hit his eyes, he managed to close them, protecting his eyes from the venom. Now the heat, spewing on his skin and face, really pissed him off. And after a few more spews from the Abaddon Dragon, he was fuming. The immune system of the mongoose coming in very clutch here.
Again, with the sea crate.
Came down to face him head to head, coming in for a pounce to grapple onto his back. But what it did not account for was surprising agility and flexibility, almost cat-like.
I would argue against that too. I mean, it's no doubtably agile, but not as agile as what a normal tyrannosaur would be able to do. I mean, sure, it got the bear, but problem is, I mean, you got that massive tail. It's still gonna be used for balance. I mean, that's just my little critique. I mean, and it's also due to its sheer size, so grappling on its back, it's definitely gonna be hard to shake off.
Thanks to Mongoose and Smilodon. Ares spun quickly, grabbing the Abaddon dragon by its long tail and slamming it back down into the earth.
Okay, this guy is actually doing his research. He's actually focusing on the tail. I know it's a weakness. I'm fully aware, but it's still cool. And it actually works well in the air. I mean, it makes tight turns, but yeah.
Breaking several bones of its lighter, more built-for-air frame before lunging and pouncing onto it, getting punctured by its talons, injecting more, what I'm assuming would be spitting cobra venom.
Yep, the talons from the platypus DNA. Oh, yes. A surprise. But also, there's more to the bite as well. You see, if you remember correctly, I used Megalania DNA. And what is Megalania? A giant Komodo dragon. And for those that don't know, Komodo dragons are actually venomous. A misconception is that they have deadly bacteria that causes death, but the actual truth is they actually have a tissue-destroying venom that actually causes you to continuously bleed out. So it stops blood from clotting, and it also causes the various cellular tissue to be destroyed, effectively rotting the victim alive. So once again, soon as it takes a bite, then it'll be a long game of waiting. And waiting until this beast dies a painful, agonizing death.
Into him through his talons thanks to platypus DNA. But overwhelming strength had overcome this flying fiend before, as it lay dead, pummeled to death by the raging emperor of the land, Ares, the Acrocantherium. Now, why Acrocantherium wins this one is similar to how Ares beat how Acrocantherium was beat by Richter. Size.
Yep.
Size matters a lot in these matchups, or
Yep.
just in the animal world in general.
And he's absolutely right. That is a critique. That is an actual that flying creatures, if they're on the ground up against a massive giant like Ares here, that is right. It actually takes one strike from either side. He can't take, my Abaddon dragon can't take a hit from too big of predators because it's a flying creature. But in turn, thanks to the venomous strike of the dragon, it also needs just one good bite at the ankles, the knees, the elbows, etc. to get the venom into the inside of the body. Now, obviously you can argue that there's crocodile DNA, and you can also argue about the mongoose, but you also have to remember Ares would be dealing with not just one type of venom, but two types of venom at the same time. Because you're dealing with neurotoxins, which is attacking the nervous system, and then you got the Komodo type venom, which is destroying the muscle tissue, causing the massive bleeding. It's gonna be all around destruction. And if that's not bad enough, you can also add bombardier beetle chemicals, adding more agonizing pain. So effectively, that's 3 problems in one bite.
Lighter animals cannot take the same amount of hits as heavier animals.
True?
Now, the Abaddon dragon, being 300 pounds,
Yes.
weighs a lot less than the 10-ton.
More than one venom attack? I don't know. I wouldn't know exactly how much venom a mongoose would take, but a mongoose would absolutely have to sleep off a strike from a venomous bite. But if it takes too many, that immune system might be overrun, and it'll ultimately take its toll. It's not taking on king cobras, that's for certain. Because remember, potency and amount of venom are key.
Acrocantherium. Now, Acrocantherium by no measure is the largest, but he's a lot more agile than, an animal of his size usually would.
Yeah.
So, using his agility...
It's a debate since it's a quadruped. I mean, it won't be able to swing its body like a T-Rex would. Simply because of how the hips are built. That's just how I would argue, but using bear DNA, it does add some kind of agility, but there's a limit, even for Ares, just because of its sheer size.
And preparation, along with the body plan of the Abaddon dragon. Now, most things that size don't have long reptilian tails. That is because that creates a lot of drag in making it awkward to fly. This would lead to Abaddon dragon being not the most graceful flyer. Now, it could get itself in the air, but it wouldn't be too good at making turns. So once it's on a set course, it will be on that course before taking a slow turn. And so, Acrocantherium, using that to his advantage, swiftly took down the animal. Now for its...
But there's also the galloping ability, so it can still gallop and fly. It can glide for a short distance, quote unquote, a good 300 to 500 meters, and watch as it charges away. And if it gets close, spray and then fly away.
Arapaima armor is really good. Take it from me, I've used it before in Dragon Seedus 2.0.
Yep.
But when you're so much lighter than the animal that's attacking you, there starts to be problems, because getting repeatedly pummeled.
Yep. Hollow bones. You see, I actually like this guy. He's actually doing his research. He's actually talking about the strengths and weaknesses of my dragon. I actually appreciate this. He's obviously bigger. He's got the strong bite. I mean, anything he throws, just because of his sheer size, could easily kill my dragon. You see, this right here, this is what I absolutely appreciate. Take notes, Alpha! If you're watching this, this is how you challenge my dragon, okay? None of this, oh, because it can't fly, because it's too mixed up. Do your damn research! Yes, it seems I do have a rival. But here, yeah, I actually made a creature that's smaller, but a lot more agile. And a lot faster. So, yeah, good on you! Gotta give her applause. Yeah, this is how it's done. I'm impressed. You might have gotten me. I mean, You didn't account for the Megalania DNA. You didn't account for the Secret DNA. But all in all, good on you.
Hit. Eventually, it's going to dent and hurt. It's going to start doing damage, especially when the animal has a almost 9-ton weight advantage.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video.
I did. I mean, I
skipped.
skipped a lot of the other ones, but...
I'm really proud of how Acrocanthetherium turned out, and I'm so sorry that this video took so long. I had a really busy summer, and just school got in the way, along with just other activities I had.
Hey, it's all right. It's all good, man. I'm a busy guy too. I'm trying my best to upload as often as possible, but yeah, go subscribe to this guy. He's a smaller channel than I am, but yeah, he's actually addressed my dragon, and yeah, I've actually got the Dracoraptor that's been made, but I'm gonna make the 2.0. Yeah. Again, round of applause. Go like this guy. He's actually done his research. I absolutely commend this guy. He's done such great work. This guy right here. This is how you do your research. There are a few flaws on that are strategic. Okay. Head on, my dragon is absolutely no match against a large theropod. But my dragon's not gonna be attacking things head on because of the lighter build, as he has pointed out. So it's gonna bite the joints or the neck, anywhere that's got a good enough heat signature, because my Abaddon Dragon actually does have heat sensing abilities, thanks to a combination of the forked tongue from the various snake species, but also vampire bat, which would allow for a heat sensing ability, allowing it to sniff out a vein, bite the vein, and then fly away. And it only takes one bite, and in turn it also takes one good swipe from Ares to do me in. So in reality, that's actually an equalizer. Great job. I'm impressed. This is great. Okay, well, enough praising this guy. There's actually another hybrid that's been released, and this one is a herbivore, and it's been made by Goji Guy. And he's talked about Samson, apparently. So we're gonna talk about creating the most unstoppable hybrid. So let's see what is in the cauldron. Let's go!
The hybrid war. You know, when I made Hank to take on the Indown 2.0,
He's
I would have never in a million
yeah.
years have expected his attempt to inspire so many others to create their own killer of killers. And as the hybrid war rages on, new animals are used more and more. People find ways to make their creature even more powerful than the lab.
And the funny thing is, I thought I was done with the hybrid war. But people keep coming back! They just don't stop coming! They just don't stop coming! Is this my channel now? Hybrid war? Is this it? Is this how it ends? My hybrid, no more gaming, only hybrids. No more gaming, only hybrids. No more gaming, only hybrids. Okay, anyway, moving on.
To put it blunt, at this point, it's a game with metas. At the start before the rules were at play, everyone just went wild. Once realism was a factor, people wanted to make the largest, then the sharpest, and then the most resistant. Every day, people make more hybrids, pushing the boundaries of the hybrid war further and further. And well,
I know, it's crazy!
Like Thanos,
I created a dragon!
To demolish any hybrid in her way in the seas.
Again! I really gotta release Poseidon! The hybrids are multiplying like rabbits. No, they're not multiplying like rabbits. They're multiplying like ant colonies. They're breeding like ants.
Hank 2.0,
Good
who's
lord!
eagerly awaiting his arrival to Skull Island at the Indom. But now what? I mean, we plan to upgrade Vex in the near future, which will have a merch drop, by the way, I promise. And I may make some more later on the road, but for now,
You're
I rest my
upgrading
book.
Vex?
It's been a good run.
I
I've
gotta
realized
see
to make the best
2.0
hybrid
then.
is to do it peacefully. Many of the top predators evolved to inflict the most damage, the most pain, and the most bleeding as possible. The T-Rex, and its bite that can pop lesser life forms. Snakes, and their venom that can solidify your blood.
Yep.
And birds that can snipe you out of the sky at 200 miles an hour. All of these traits, and yet still, predators aren't the main life form here on Earth. Prey,
True.
herbivores, sauropods, cattle, animals that don't go out of the way to sharpen their teeth or perfect their aim. These beasts, despite not being made to kill, are able to contend and beat animals that were built by Mother Nature to rip them to shreds. All these traits, and yet still, predators aren't the dominant force on
Peaceful,
Earth.
but deadly.
The ones who endure. Elephants trample lions, bison break wolves, and hippos snap crocs. They aren't built to kill, but built not to die. So if predators have dominated the hybrid war, then maybe it's time we build a creature that doesn't need to hunt to win. A hybrid born from giants, who were never meant to fight, but can kill when demanded to do so. Today we make the super prey, an animal built to survive. If you were to die to anything, it would be on his own accord. Today we build a hybrid that snaps limbs in half, crushes skulls, and drowns his pursuers. Today we build the most robust hybrid in the hybrid war.
That is
Hello,
that
everyone.
is
I'm your host, Goji
intimidating.
Guy, and let's be real, most of you guys know me at this point. And today's finally time to make a new hybrid. The bills won't pay themselves, and also because it's been a minute since I've made one. In my last videos, we have made some of the most overkill predators to ever exist. From Hank to Vex and Hank 2.0. Time and time again, we find new ways to push the hybrid war in this.
I designed Poseidon to actually take on Hank 2.0. Yeah, there's a lot of monsters. Yeah, this is a monster that I created to take out that neurotoxin. Thanks a lot, Goji Center. Now I actually had to build a counter genome to fight that.
Limits. And man, they redditors. But for real, in today's video, we're gonna take a page out of my buddy Madly Mesozoic's book and make a super prey, if you will. A creature not built to kill, but equipped with an arsenal that with his looks alone,
Yeah, that
will
was
scare
a-
off any predator
that was a
maybe
super
look at him
mammoth.
as a snack. In today's video, I'm happy to introduce you to the newest hybrid of Goji Industries. While Goji Corp has Hank and Indom and gets them ready for battle, and Vex is off exploring the ocean with her siblings, we are here to humbly make a new hybrid. One that's not meant for battle, but just because he's adorable. I know he may look like a hellspawn, but I swear, you will come to love him. In today's video, we create
really
the
does
cutest
look
over-the-top
like a
hybrid.
beast from hell.
Introducing Rhino. And if you want to see content ranging from dinosaurs, hybrids to kaiju in your inbox, then make sure you subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into it.
All right.
So firstly,
let's
howdy
see
again,
this
everyone.
deadly
I really don't
hippo.
know how to start these videos, especially this one, as Reiner's not here to fight anyone. I mean, I was considering Mortalodon, but let's just say it's like putting a coffee chin against a nuclear Kong. So, what to start with? Well, I thought long and hard. When making super prey like these, most people look at the Proboscidea and Calosauridae or Ceratopidae families.
Logically speaking, there's good reason for those. Not gonna lie.
As our go-to genus. But we're gonna go even further back, all the way back to the mid-Triassic, roughly 210 million years ago. And we'll be taking a representative of the Dicertodon family, that being my favorite animal of all time. Every morning I wake up and thank God for a beautiful day, and thank him that I can walk the same earth as these glorious beasts from long ago. I present to you the greatest animal of all time, the Lisovicia.
Lisovicia.
These fellas came in at 15 feet in length and stood about 9 feet tall at the hips and weighed in at a max of 8 tons. These guys are a perfect base. Many other tank bases, as we've already mentioned, have something going on that can complicate things. Whether it's the armor and wrecking ball of the Ankylosaurus, the frill and horn of the trike, or the trunk and tusk of the elephant. But Lisovicia? Nope. These guys are as simple as they get. Big, fat, and have a beak. These guys are so painfully boring and simple that they are the perfect base for any hybrid. You want a fast Lisovicia? Doable. A stealthy one? Easy. One that can climb trees? I don't doubt it. They are the blank canvas in the animal kingdom, and I mourn their death daily. But why do we pick them as a base? Well, besides the fact that I'm biased to them, and they're the greatest animal of all time, they provide great size, stability, and a strong beak. And as I said, they are so blank that we can really do whatever we want. So with that mentioned, let's up his defenses, shall we? Let's start with the beak. Well, to start, we first need to already understand how crazy Liso's bite is. Now, for those who don't truly understand how big these guys were, here's a reconstruction of their head.
Oh!
Yeah. Now, it's very, very difficult to say how strong
Yeah,
these
that's a
guys'
big
bite force
boy.
was, as sadly there just really isn't much fossil info on them. This is due to a lack of interest in the
Looks like you need to step up your game and probably have a second channel for a hybrid content. I would wonder who to... Yep, probably. I'm just gonna have to title it... the Yen Lab, or something. We'll find out how this goes.
Triassic beasts, as everyone's more interested in stuff like the T-Rex because, you know, of course. And secondly, it's a Triassic. It's a miracle of a fossil lasting for cretaceous, much less an additional 100 million years from the Triassic. So all we really have is scattered parts. But given their sheer size, these guys would likely have a bite anywhere from 1,000 to 1,400 psi. That's just my educated guess, though, given the very limited info we have. So while it's not animal popping like the T-Rex, it's still mad impressive, especially for a herbivore. So, who's first
it's a hippo!
even more devastating? Well, flying at 25 miles an hour at 1.25 pounds, we have the Imperial Woodpecker.
Why not hippo?
This little fella has one of, if not the strongest beaks in the entire woodpecker family. These guys are essentially biological jackhammers. Their beaks have a strong outer layer of keratin that was densely packed and highly abrasive resistant. Below that, they had bone that was reinforced with a spongy core, allowing them to absorb the shock of their blows. This allows the Imperial to hit as hard as he needed to. Along with the beak, he also had great neck muscles and a phenomenal shock absorbent system, but more on that later. We'll be taking the gene that is responsible for the beak hardening and endurance factor and pasting it into our Liso, having it only affect the front of the beak, but not these little side parts. But speaking of the side parts, let's cover those next. Now, this part of the beak is weird. Now, personally, I don't really have a clue what this is. They're just some sort of weird, enlarged, keratinized jaw flanges, or essentially, it's just tusks. It's pretty much just tusks, more or less. This part of the beak likely didn't shear
let's just call them
tusks. Plants. While the main part of the beak actually bit down, these side parts likely sheared the plants and were the real cutting power. Along with that, sexual display. Which I'm not going to explain, that's not important to the hybrid. Moving on, so how are we going to make this part of the beak better? Well, let's give it some guillotine chocolate power, shall we? The next genetic contributor is the one and only Thylacoleo.
The marsupial lion.
A marsupial with some of the scariest back teeth in the animal kingdom. As you see here, they did have some normal teeth, yes, but it's the back ones we're really interested in. These elongated, sharpened teeth allow the thylo to bite through most prey with ease. The teeth acting like one of those paper trimmers you have in your art class. Now, the tricky part is how we're going to apply this. Well, firstly, I want to mention, in terms of realism, we aren't looking at Vex or Hank 2.0 levels, so stretch your realism boundary a little bit here. Now, it's hard to explain how we'll apply this without a 3D model, but I'll try my best. Hey, lol, editing Goji guy here. We made a 3D model of it. Yeah, enjoy. Within the inner side of the beak tusk things, both in the top and bottom, the tusks become more angular and slanted, allowing the top of the mouth gradually lock into place, but now with razor-sharp edges. So already we have woodpecker reinforcements, and now natural blades on the side. Already, if you get caught within this bite, you'll likely lose a limb. But let's go further. The tusks themselves are already at a good angle for shearing, but we want to be able to clamp down even better and chomp through whatever is presented. So thanks to the thylo's front teeth, these teeth will cause the tusk to bend, so now it clamps shut even better. But let's move on to the next contributor. The jaw is already crazy sharp, but how can we make the entire thing even sharper? Well, we're taking a contributor from the original Hank's gene pool, and are going to be using it much more sparingly this time. A fish is arguably the deadliest bite in the seas, the Dunkleosteus.
Makes sense.
Now, along with many of these animals, it will have more effects later, but for now, let's angle those edges just right. And so that now, this guy's beak will be self-sharpening. The Dunkleosteus, like most animals, were able to sharpen their teeth passively. Now, dunks did this because of two things. One, that means the food they ate, which we can't replicate, but the second reason you can. As a top predator in the ocean, you can't afford to have a dull jaw, can you? So, how'd they sharpen their jaws? Well, its jaw plates rubbed against each other with every bite, each time grinding a new sharp edge. Just like the paper trimmer joke I made earlier, their jaws were able to sharpen themselves like a whetstone. So, the already angled jaw will be further modified so that Reiner's jaw grinds against itself, sharpening its beak whenever he needs to eat. And keep in mind, the dunks did this when they ate, which was likely a couple times a day. But a herbivore like Reiner who has to eat plants non-stop?
Yeah, it's gonna really behave like a hippo.
Jaw as sharp as swords. But let's add one last contributor, the one that's been used in practically every hybrid there is. I finally cave into its empire. The short-tailed shrew makes itself known.
Ah, yes, the shrew. It is the age of the shrew!
You all know why he's here, let's be real. This short-tailed shrew has a lot of iron deposits within his teeth. We'll be taking the specific gene responsible for doing that and have it run wild within Reiner's crazy dense beak and skull bones. But thankfully, the rest of his body won't be as compact as the beak, so the rest will stay as the bone, at least for now. The shrew's iron enrichment would go wild within Reiner's face, the deposits being practically everywhere, making his entire beak iron-enriched, which is what gives him that demon look. So, now we have one of the largest beaks in the animal kingdom, reinforced with the Imperial Woodpecker, tusks that have been manipulated to look like Thylacoleo, Dunkleosteus self-sharpening attributes, and then all iron-enriched? Yeah, it's safe to say we will bite through anything, whether it's Hank's stomach, Indom 2.0's tail, or Samson's tusk. Anything that finds its way into biting range will be detached from the body within seconds.
Yeah,
Along with a few other things
that's
we'll cover very
nasty
soon,
work.
it's safe to say already we have made a devastating bite that no matter which hybrid you are, you won't want to be near. So with the beak down, let's move on to the rest of his head. Now, the head is interesting. As you will see, the rest of his body is pretty well protected. His butt will be a weapon, so his behind is fine. Going underneath him is just asking to be crushed, and if you attack his sides, you'll just be rammed. But one area that is still vulnerable is his back. Now, while I admit this isn't a perfect fix, we've devised a good countermeasure. Next up in the genome is the American bison.
Okay. Yeah, that adds an aggression factor.
Given his Lysovicia base, which lacks a detached frill similar to trikes, his skull has plenty of room to grow and develop bison horns. Taking the genome that is responsible for said horns, Reiner now can grow long horizontal horns that go out and slightly back. At first we planned on having him face forward, but we changed it as one, the beak is a more viable weapon for attacking head on, so there's just no need. And secondly, it would be almost unusual at that angle, making it super difficult to hit anything. So turns out, simple is better. Rather than tweaking them forward as we first did, the best bet is just take them how they are. Now, even when a hybrid climbs onto his back, Reiner has a good shot of stabbing deep into them with his horns. But another thing, the Lysovicia in the room, the red face. What is it? All right, well, put your tinfoil hats on, let me cook. The entire kitchen is about to burn down. All right, so this is Dunk Liasius' influence once more. Now, before we explain, we're assuming that Dunk's armor was on top of their skin. Now, in recent studies, we're starting to have more evidence that the Dunks have the armor underneath their skin rather than on top. Now, whether you want to use that or not is up to you, but all we want is the outer face armor. So if you don't think the Dunks did have this, then just imagine it's a Jurassic World one instead. Now, onto the how. How does he grow this armor? Well, rather than printing the literal bone structure of the dunk, as if we were to copy and paste it. Instead, the dunk's genes will be spliced ever so perfectly as to where they grow around the head, rather than grow in their natural shape. Think of it like a designer cat or dog. He'll be crafted just right, so that his bone structure will grow and protect all of the vulnerable parts of his face, giving him an almost demon-like look. So with all that mentioned, that's the head complete. But there is one major issue that presents itself now.
The body.
With a denser iron-reinforced beak, along with iron-reinforced bone on his face, Reiner's head weighs much more than the average Lysovicia neck can normally hold. So, next up, let's make the neck stronger. Now, luckily, two of the previously mentioned contributors again show up here, starting with the woodpecker. Now, sadly these guys are extinct, at least as far as we know, we can get a solid estimate on their neck strength, given they're not so dead relatives, such as the pileated or great slidey woodpeckers. These birds can deliver up to 1,200 Gs of force with every strike, meaning their heads endure 1,200 times the force of gravity in a single impact. For context, humans start to black out around 5 to 9 Gs, and a serious car crash might hit with 50 to 100, yet woodpeckers do this 20 times per second without any brain damage. This is thanks to their specialized shock-absorbent muscles and bone structure in their neck and skull, which is exactly the kind of reinforcement Reiner needs to be able to handle the sheer weight and recoil of his iron-reinforced beak. These incredibly powerful muscles, at a larger scale like this, along with some other contributors, already give Reiner an incredibly strong neck, but he does need a little bit more if he doesn't want to have constant neck pains. Next up, adding to the strength of the neck, the barbarian lion.
Oh, yeah, that's where the main... I was suspecting there's be lion somewhere.
The barbarian lion, also extinct, good job humans, also known as the Atlas lion.
But is that lion extinct? Because there are rumors that it might be still out there, hidden in the mountains. Explorers, get your binoculars out. We never know what you'll find.
Was the largest lion to ever exist. Not only the largest lion, but also, debatably, the largest feline to ever exist. The only cat that pose a threat to its crown being the Siberian tiger or the Smilodon populator. What is a populator, you may ask? Well, it's this right here. Today's video is brought to you by Creative Face Studios, and I'm so happy to show off their Smilodon populator. While I unbox this, let me tell you all about the populator. Coming in at a maximum of 3.7 meters in length, and an insane 672 kilograms, these cats were beasts, roaming the earth only 10,000 years ago. Likely be one of the top cats of the Felidae family. The only ones, as you said, that would be anywhere near close.
Hang on,
I got. These cats were beasts, roaming the earth only 10,000 years ago. Likely be one of the top.
Okay, I had to pause right here. Who do you think would win? A Utahraptor or a Smilodon? Leave your comments below. This is for the YouTubers that are watching this as of right now. I know most of the views of these streams are not whilst I am performing these streams. So, cast your votes now. Utahraptor or Smilodon?
Cats of the Felidae family. The only ones, as we said, that would be anywhere near close would be the Siberian Tiger or the
those are
Barbarian
cool.
Lion.
These
How
are
do I know
cool,
this? Well, I got a
actually.
lot of awesome info from this car that's in the box itself. Not only do you get an awesome figure, but you learn about its history in the process. But let's look at the figure itself. This toy has an amazing paint job and an absolutely breathtaking sculpt. Oh, well, Goji guy, you're just saying that because it's sponsoring the video. Well, I can see why you'd say that. Keep in mind, I bought from these guys far before the sponsorship. They're a Kilometer figure, being one of my best pickups from this year's G-Fest. I wouldn't be showing off their products if I truly didn't think it would interest you all. Though, one disclaimer before buying their stuff. Once you buy a Creative Beast toy of any sort, your others will start to look pretty dinky. Along with all of this, you get all sorts of accessories to truly customize your Smilodon. If you're a Kaiju or Dino fan that has been wanting a dinosaur figure in the same quality as a Gaia figure, trust me, Creative has you covered. They have beasts ranging from Allosaurus to Mitseni and Pachycephalosaurus, Wyomingensis, to the woolly mammoth and the Andrewsarchus mongoliensis. Oh, and they have their own cool project. If you ever wanted to say, I don't know, add weapons to your
They got Dino
well, take a look
Wars!
at their Cyberzoic lineup.
They got Dino Riders! Yotoraptor, that's the first comment. Yeah, soon as the stream ends, type that in the comment section there. Yeah, there it is. That's the first comment, but anyway, I digress.
Coolest animals of the past and give them an arsenal of the modern day. All of these and so much more are to be found in buying.
That is so cool. They got Dino Riders.
Honestly aside, this is genuinely one of the best figures in my collection. So make sure to check out the first link down below, or go to creativebeast.com to check out all of their amazing figures. All right, but with the sponsor aside, thank you, Beast. Let's get back to it. Now, the Barbarian line will be used for their insane neck muscle volume, having an incredibly thick and powerful musculature arrangement. Though with that being said, we need to be careful how we mix it with the woodpecker's muscles. While the woodpecker's muscles are crazy strong, there isn't much. So what we will be doing is pulling the sheer volume of muscle from the Barbarian Lion, but having Reiner develop those muscles more like the woodpeckers. Think of it like this. The lion provides the scaffold, while the woodpecker provides shock
and the mane,
protecting Reiner's brain and neck from getting damaged during high-speed strikes. As high as he can go, of course, which isn't that quick. Together, they form a neck that is not just strong, but engineered specifically to hold his head and to be able to take heavy blows and thrash around with insane force. And all this also provides Reiner with the hardware needed for his crazy bites.
Is there gonna be a rhino DNA too?
No.
Or maybe hippo?
Now, what are we taking from these guys? Well, besides the horns from earlier, we're also taking their vertebrae attributes. What do I mean? Well, take a look for yourself. A bison's vertebrae C3 through C5 are larger, thicker, and more robust than the normal vertebrae. The thick vertebrae from the bison lets Reiner not only support the weight of his massive skull, but also supports the constant tension of pulling, thrashing, and biting without snapping under pressure. Not only does it help as is, but by extending the surface area of his neck, it now allows the lion's growth patterns to go even further, adding even more muscle than normal. How well would that work? Who knows? Anyways, we now have woodpecker-like muscles at the volume and thickness of the Barbarian Lion. That is then further extended by the bison in his vertebrae. Said vertebrae also help support the neck even more. But there are a few other things to add. Firstly, Reiner's mane. One of the few places unprotected is Reiner's neck. While he does have a doubly osseous bone, as you can see here, there's still an open gap with a whole bunch of muscle, and said muscle needs to be protected at all costs. So, we'll be altering the lion's main attributes to grow through his scales, which we'll cover in a moment. Now, why is it white, you may ask? Well, I don't know. It looks cool. All right, man. Just keep up. This huge mane allows Reiner
I'm
to
not
stay
questioning
safe
it.
from
It's
bites
still
to the
cool.
neck. Attackers now being met with a mouthful of fur rather than his thick, juicy muscles below. Along with all that, Reiner can now blast through flesh like a shotgun using his beak. With the bison and woodpecker being added, Reiner would instinctively want to be able to use his head to ram when needed, such as when woodpeckers are trying to find food or make a home, and how bisons ram into each other with their horns. Reiner's beak will now be used to stab deep into attackers, puncturing deep holes into their flesh. And the woodpecker and bison are a perfect mix for this, as Reiner already has great shock absorbent muscles, but now with the extended vertebrae that will spread out the blow over his elongated structure, Reiner could run full speed into a brick wall and be A-OK from the impact. So not only does he have a crazy bite, but he can now ram with his beak and horns and absolutely gore any other animal in his wake. So, with the neck buffed, onto his armor. Next up is his armor. Now, before we begin on this, I want to mention something. I was going to wait to mention this at the end of the video, but most of you guys leave way before then. Who is clicking off of a video after 4 seconds?
I have the same problem too! Are you guys that terrible at paying attention? Damn! You guys have such terrible attention spans! Is TikTok really rotting everyone's brain? Why is nobody watching no more? It's movie night!
Anyways, there's a reason I am doing this video, and that's just to bring hype to the Triassic period. That's why we're using Lisovici as a base. So many animals from the Triassic have very minimal research done, and very little interest in the first place. Most people rather focus on trying to find dinos like T-Rex or Spino, which, while cool, yeah, they are literally ignoring one of the most interesting time periods in Earth's history. So, let's make a deal. I want this video to spread far and wide, to hype the stuff from the Triassic and before. There are too many amazing animals that we leave unchecked, and deserve just as much respect as the likes of the Tyrant Lizard King. So, here's the deal. I don't usually ask for like likes. And I know it's a huge ask, but if this video can reach 30,000 likes, I know that's a huge...
30,000! You hear that, Ammonites? Spread the word! And also subscribe to me, too! Because I want to grow, too!
goal. I will fly all the way to Warsaw, Poland, and go to the Museum of Evolution. Why? Well, they're the only institute that has a Lisovici skeleton. So if you want to learn more about cool stuff like that in the future, and make me spend a crap ton of my own money on a plane ticket, then make sure to like the video to bring some hype to these underappreciated beasts of the past. Oh, and subscribe too, of course. Anyways, durability, skin, scales, yada yada. Let's go. So what armor are we looking for? Well, in Reiner's armor, there are two contributors we're interested in. Those being the best two animals from Hank 2.0 and Indom 2.0's genome. The Dwarf Croc and the Mylodon.
Yep. Okay. First, the Dwarf Croc. Yep. Got the side armor. And the Mylodon.
Now we need to mix these properly. We're taking the Dwarf Croc scutes as they help against any slashing attacks, while the Mylodon has thick, dense skin with tiny dermal ossicles, aka bone nodules, embedded within their skin. So how will this skin work? Well, it's weird, so let's break it down. There will be more or less 3 layers to Reiner's armor, starting with the base layer. This bottom layer is mostly Mylodon-like tough connective tissue, being both thick and durable. This acts almost as shock absorbance, and is the main damage resistance layer. On top of that, we have the dermal layer. This layer will be embedded with large, denser croc-like osteoderms. Think of them like big scales that are locked into the tough base hide. And finally, the top layer, that being the epidermis. This layer is covered in keratinized croc scales, or more accurately, scutes, similar to those of the Dwarf Croc. And due to Reiner's body type, they might even show subtle overlapping patterns for mobility of the joints, though they aren't perfect. Now, the only issue is the mane.
I see the scutes now.
The argument is that it will just take a long time, not growing nearly as quickly, as the hair from far below needs to grow and sprout out of the gaps between the scutes. But after a long time, the mane could grow in. Next up is a interesting contributor. Reiner is covered when it comes to his face, being able to bite through just about anything presented, and he's able to gore predators that are chasing him. He has his mane to protect his neck, and croc scute skin stuff to protect his underbelly and give him overall great durability. But he isn't agile for crap, meaning if he needs to turn around to attack or protect his behind, it'll be hard for him to do so quickly. So how do we fix this? Well, Overseer, my Australian pal, you'll be happy to see this guy. One of the cutest little guys down under, with their reinforced blood plating, we present the Wombat. Now, if you know anything about the wombat, you likely know why it's here. But to those who don't, I want you to guess. I'll give you a moment. How do you think wombats kill their pursuers? Their teeth? Claws? Maybe tools or poison? I'll give you a sec. Alright, got it? Well, wrong. The wombats kill, I kid you not, with their butts. Wombats have a reinforced bone plate.
They twerk people to death?
A plate of fused bone, pretty much like butt bone armor. Want proof? Well, back to what I asked. Wombats literally kill by crushing a predator's skull in their burrow using their butt. Adding this to the giant that is Reiner means if he were to sit on any attacker, he will break some bones and likely pop them just by sitting down. Much
talk about throwing it back. Oh, maybe that's why all the women are getting their Brazilian butt lifts. They want to throw it back to kill all the men. Oh, that's my adult joke of the week.
Plus, if he whips his bottom back and forth, he'll be able to ram his bony butt into attackers, easily knocking out the likes of Indom 2.0 or the Hanks. So now does his butt not only have great durability, but now, if a predator tries to sink their claws or lord with their teeth into his bottom, yikes, they will have a rough time. They would honestly hope their teeth break on impact, as if they get stuck, they will be getting crushed. Or Reiner, again, can move side to side, either ripping their teeth out or killing them from the whiplash. So, with that at play, we have 3 more contributors left. And after that, we'll cover the issues he'll face day and what his genome has to help. Next up is his inner workings. Now, when it comes to editing his inside, there's really only one notable thing, that being his lungs. Along with the Mylodon from earlier, we're also throwing in Thalophochmus.
Okay. An amphibious sloth, yeah.
Just like Hank 2.0, this is being added to allow him to have great lungs, allowing Reiner to go underwater for a few minutes. If he were to just stand there, he could likely stay underwater for like 15, 20 minutes, but if he's fighting, it's closer to 5. So it's more just here to allow him to stay underwater, which we'll cover why soon, and to add more congruity to the hybrid, given it already has Mylodon within. So with that being mentioned, let's move on to the issues he would face, and when the genome has to negate the problems. First up, let's cover the big issue, his face. While cool and durable, that much iron can cause a lot of issues, specifically iron poisoning. If you don't know what happens when you get this, let me break it down so you can grasp the severity of it. Now, this happens when iron overloads the blood. Now, while it's mostly on the outside, over time, it could cause some effect. Firstly, it can damage DNA, proteins, and cell membranes. Along with that, organs will start to deteriorate from the inside out, especially the liver and the gastrointestinal tract.
Yeah.
And gastrointestinal tract, pretty much its entire digestive system, including your mouth, stomach, both intestines, and much more. You'll also start to vomit often, have internal bleeding, and it can even cause your heart to fail. So this is a big issue. Other hybrids like Indom 2.0 or Hank have iron, but only in tiny amounts. While Reiner over here looks like he got his iron from X-Ray in a Minecraft server. So what will we use to balance this out? The mighty and graceful domestic pig. Pigs have evolved over time to take in and regulate iron extremely efficiently. This is due mostly to their gastrointestinal tract and liver being so good at filtering and detoxifying. Adding this to his genome now makes it that the limited excess iron that makes it from his face into his blood will be filtered and taken care of before he has any chance of getting serious damage. As we covered earlier, his neck has been heavily modified to carry his head, thanks to the bison, woodpecker, and lion. Though his joints will also have to deal with new weight, so how will he hold up over time? Luckily, 3 contributors help with that. Firstly, Mylodon. Similar to his fellow big back Samson, will be incorporating the Mylodon's extra foot bones into Reiner. Luckily though, the Lisovici already had an incredibly built foot, and the Mylodon structure on top of that helps spread the weight out even further, which now also makes it harder for him to tip over. Along with all of that, due to his size and weight, which will increase greatly with the next contributor, we need to have good joints. Thankfully, Dilophosaurus contributes great joint longevity, and the dwarf crotch already have very durable joints and can heal slowly over time, so any aching injuries are helped with those contributors. But now it's time, the final contributor, and this is where it gets really odd. Now, adding what we're about to add, we'll shave some years off Reiner's life, but it's not like he'll know that. It is yet to be in any hybrid at this point. It's not an animal, nor is it a plant. It's a mutated gene. The final contributor to Reiner's genome is gigantism.
Gigantism? How? Why not just add elephant?
Reiner, while menacing, isn't that large. And if he wants to be able to defend himself, he needs to get larger, heavier, and stronger. Adding gigantism will shorten his lifespan by a few years, and he will have times where he has sore joints. But thankfully, the wide range of contributors allows Reiner to live with this mutation without much worry. So, here he is, Reiner, aka Lisodurax impervax.
I mean, I would have suggested some kind of rhino.
This chonker comes in at 15 feet tall and weighs a hefty 12 tons. From durable black scales to a shiny white mane to his unstoppable bite, Reiner is a freight train with blades. But now with Scary Boy's genome at play, let's move on to his home. Now, as I promised, I don't know if I promised it in the script, I've been writing this for a few days now. Despite Reiner looking like a hellspawn, he's just a cute little guy. Now, firstly, we need to select a home for Reiner to live. So we'll be demolishing the planet, and we'll be placing Reiner in Hell's Gate Geothermal Reserves in New Zealand. Now, why do we place Reiner there? Well, I'm glad you asked. This place gives Reiner the 3 things he loves most: dirt, water, and mud. Starting with water. Now, besides the fact that, well, he needs to drink water, but along with that, there's one issue he still will struggle with, that being overheating. If on a hot day and he has no shade, Reiner can overheat, and he doesn't have a great way to cool off. So, being near water allows him to go in and cool off. Not only that, but it allows him to escape any predators, simply by just running into the water. Thanks to his good lungs and weight, he will just sink and walk on the river, allowing him to escape predators.
This is where Poseidon would be waiting. That's home turf!
And cool off when needed. Next up, dirt. Now, besides the fact
Baby
that he's
got
forced
back.
to eat a lot of plants every day to stay full, he will also burrow. Thanks to the wombat and Mylodon DNA, Reiner instinctually knows to burrow into the ground. Like said contributors, he will burrow to give himself a safe home, allowing him to place stockpiles of food and use it as a weapon against predators, which we'll cover in a moment. And lastly, mud. Yes, really. Now, why does mud matter? Well, a few reasons. Firstly, it will prevent him from being bored. Thanks to the pig and bison DNA, Reiner will wallow when bored, and also use it as a way to clean himself. The mud will also provide relief to his joints and sore spots. But most interestingly, it helps with his iron. Now, I want to say off the bat, I suck at biology and chemistry. I do not know how I passed those classes. So I'm going to do an absolute face value scrape of this, and if you have any further questions in the comments, do not expect a reply, as I have no clue how to elaborate further. For this, I actually had to contact
It's okay,
the chemistry
we
professor
didn't
to
pay
make sure
attention
everything
to
checked out.
school
And
either.
she said, more or less, Yeah, let me explain. Reiner, while having pig DNA, which would help greatly with the iron management, could over time grow too much iron. That's where the mud comes in. The mud found in Hell's Creek is high in bentonite and sulfuric clays, which have a negative ionic charge, meaning they are drawn to and draw out heavier metals such as iron. So by him playing in the mud, he could manage and regulate his iron amounts, as the mud will be doing a process called cationic exchange, lowering his iron amounts by a tiny fraction, which would be just enough to manage the growth of iron over the years. So he can cool off and go for a swim in the water, he eats plants and burrows in the ground, and while he's in the mud to help with joints, boredom, and iron amounts. Reiner is just a little guy. He likes to roll in mud, dig holes, and easily gets distracted by colorful bugs. While he may look scary, I promise he's not. Anyways, let's cover how he brutally murders the competition. Now, while most people would hope their hybrid fights a brutal, epic battle, Reiner, yeah, not really. Firstly, dismemberment. Now, thanks to Reiner's insane bites, he'll be able to bite through anything. Even talking about the hybrids in comparison is a disservice. I really don't think there is a single body part of any animal that would stay intact from a bite from this guy. Like I said, whether it's the Indom's tail, Hank's belly, or Samson's tusk, he will chomp right through it with ease. Well, what about armor? He can't bite through that, as it's too difficult to land a bite. Well, that is correct. Let's use Samson as an example. His armor is too flat for Reiner to be able to bite properly, so how does he get around it? Well, second up, goring. Thanks to his reinforced iron beak, along with his shock absorbent muscles, and the sheer force he'll be hitting with, he will easily break through any armor and flesh, creating giant holes in other hybrid bodies, which could cause him to bleed out if he lands multiple. If they get away, they'll infect over time, and along with all of that, depending on how long his beak is lodged into their veins, he might be able to give them iron poison. So we have limbs being chopped off, or being gored and dying of infection afterwards. But there's quite a bit more. Next up, the horns. This one is simple, but likely wouldn't happen much. If Reiner's in a 1 of a million battle, where another hybrid is on his back, if he can land the proper hit, he could land a devastating blow with his horns, possibly stabbing his horn into the attacker's throat, causing them to bleed out, and crushing their windpipes. And all of that is just his head. Let's move on to the rest of his body. Firstly, his underside. If you're a smaller hybrid and try to go underneath, thinking you can cut open his belly, well, now you have 11 tons of fat falling onto you. Good job. And while it likely won't kill, his body alone is like an ankylosaur tail. If he rams into you from the side, his sheer weight will break bones and knock over the heaviest attackers. But now onto the funniest ways he can kill. Firstly, death from the rump. If you decide to chase Reiner into his burrow, now like a wombat victim, you will have your skull crushed from Reiner ramming his bottom against your head into the ceiling of his burrow, breaking your skull and killing you instantly. And lastly, the funniest one, let's assume we go to attack him while he's drinking some water. After enough time, he'll turn around and bite you. You'll feel the sharp pain from his bite, but your leg is still attached. That's strange. Well, that's when Reiner will run as hard as he can into the water, mouth still clamped onto the attacker. And thanks to his superior lungs and the fact that he sinks, Reiner will drag his attacker into the water and wait for them to drown before walking back up to enjoy some food and play in the mud. So, slicing, goring, crushing, drowning, and stomping. Reiner has a good counter to all types of attackers. Waking up from his burrow, eating some grass, rolling in mud, watching butterflies, brutally killing his attackers, and drinking some waters on his daily schedule. So, there he is. I hope you all enjoy him just as much as I do, as he is my little fat baby. If you want to make an attacker to go for him, go for it. But I do have a fun idea. A hybrid short competition, if you will. If you want to make Reiner's day even more interesting, make a YouTube short trying to create the most colorful and most interestingly patterned butterfly or other bugs for Reiner to watch in his free time. The winner will get a custom piece of Reiner and said bug. So if you want to support Reiner and his lazy lifestyle, then consider joining. And use hashtag ReinerBug. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you all like what I did. Thank you to Creative Beast Studios for sponsoring this video. And make sure to like the video if you want to see me go to Poland to see the only Lisa.
Yep, and that's that. Let's see here. Yeah, this is yeah, there are a lot of things. Yeah, my hybrid in the seas really loves water. Yeah, at the rate things are going right now, I don't think I might be able to get it all done within a weekend, 'cause it's suddenly turning into a really big video. Oh boy. But anyway, a dragon whale. I made a whale dragon. So, Uno reverse, I guess.
So Goji Guy's Vex, a creature claimed to be so invincible, having a counter to everything. Can't make a larger creature, can't make a smaller, can't make a faster creature, can't make a stronger creature. But I think I might have made just that, a creature perfectly made to counter Vex.
Well...
So, the base genome will be Leviathan. This will give it overall corporal build of Leviathan, along with the jaw strength, with a bite force of 21,000
You're gonna be busy for
PSI.
here. Hybrid
will
war
allow our
content.
whale
Yes,
to
I
easily
am.
dispatch it if Vex got too close to the face, along with overall muscular build, so it'll be able to defend itself pretty well with just its body in general, because that's one thing that whales are pretty good at, defending themselves with their overall body, not just their jaws. With side bashes, tail slaps, and overall ramming maneuvers with the head. Now, it also will give the hybrid a good sense of echolocation, but there will be also another addition for that later, to help out finding the creature in dark or murky waters. Our hybrid will be able to locate Goju guys, also be familiar with how to fight creatures of similar size range, since the Leviathan genome. Next genome in our hybrid will be the porcupine fish, which will give it a spiky underbelly along with sides to protect it from attacks from Vex. And also, if Vex were to attack...
There's also poison in that, so that's actually that's gonna give it an edge. I used pufferfish. I used it. Yeah, that's good choice.
It will get a mouthful of neurotoxin and spikes.
Yep.
These spikes are very crucial to the defense of our hybrid, along with a later creature, especially
the
two later
pufferfish
creatures.
family is no joke.
Porcupine fish's venom, or poison, will slow down Vex, also along with the neurotoxin. Now, the neurotoxin would be very crucial to our creature.
Yeah, specifically the tetrotoxin. In case of pufferfish, it's actually multiple times deadlier than cyanide. I don't remember the specific number, but that is a deadly chemical to play with. Very deadly. And this is why chefs, only high-ranking 5-star level chefs, are able to handle cutting up pufferfish. Cut it wrong, and you kill your customer.
It's slowing down Vex and allowing it to deliver a finishing blow. The next part of the genome will be lionfish. Lionfish will give our hybrid the spines, which will also have lionfish neurotoxin mixed in with the porcupine fish neurotoxin. This will be placed on the fins, which will deter Vex from attacking said fins and make them very hard to get rid of, so they can't limit our animals' mobility.
Yeah, that's gonna cause a lot of drag, if I'm gonna be honest.
In the same way that the porcupine fish venom will help in slowing down Vex. But also, the spines are going to be ridiculously huge, since, you know, it's a giant whale, that they might even impale Vex. That's a little debatable, but overall, fine addition to the hybrid. Now, the next one of the most important additions besides the porcupine fish is the humpback whale. Now, these whales are important due to their surprising agility for a whale their size. So that'll give our whale a whole lot more mobility to turn and counter Vex, along with giving it experience against orcas, since humpback whales are good against fighting orcas, and they are experienced at that. So this will give...
Well, it's basically something... I guess he was going for, because it's a whale. It might be because there are more spines, but you know, yeah, that'll be a 2.0, I think. Haven't decided yet, but I'll do a little bit of research and see if my Poseidon needs any work. I know you've been asking for Poseidon for a while, so I'm gonna release the beast. And I'm gonna put it up against multiple hybrids, including the twerking hippo.
Our hybrid, a little more knowledge of it fighting an animal, since orca's part of Vex's genome, Along with that, it'll give the hybrid longer flippers to fight against Vex. These flippers are really well used for humpback whales, so this will be a very good addition to our hybrid. The next genome in our hybrid will be Titania ichthys. This large placoderm fish will add armor to the front half of the body, on the head, and some of the back, along with the flippers, which will be important in a little bit. We'll talk about that later. But so, now that the flippers are reinforced, and they have the size of more of a humpback whale, that is going to help us out a lot in the defense department, because now that it has spikes on the spines, on the fins, along with being armored, Vex probably isn't biting through this with the bite force of a saltwater croc. Along with the head being heavily and well protected, just in case it goes for the head. So, that'll help out a lot. The next part of the genome will be sperm whale. This whale will help with echolocation, allowing our hybrid to find Vex easily in deep waters, along with making it easier to dive down to said deep waters to follow Vex or, say, continue like the fight down there, which would be a depth of 10,000 feet deep. So, pretty deep since sperm whales are very deep divers.
Yeah.
They also have pretty thick skin, which will help in defense, but also a little X factor that we'll speak of later. But so, overall, this is a great addition. Now it is time to reveal the hybrid you've been waiting for. Dracocetus poseidonensis, Poseidon's dragon whale.
Yeah,
Now this hybrid
that's
I'm really proud of. Shout out to Slides on Instagram for drawing this. He's a really cool guy, really good friend of mine. Go check out his art and his Godzilla Sacrifice series. Really good stuff. But here's the final product. We have a heavily armored whale who has spines, along with a lot of poison due to the large body mass, armor, and overall great sense of echolocation. Now, time to speak of the X factor. Now, the X factor will be the fact that older specimens, if it were allowed to grow old enough, would develop barnacles. And thanks to the thicker skin and armor, these barnacles would be basically like brass knuckles. Instead of being like parasites, they would be more mutualism. Or the other one. So these barnacles will allow it to hit harder and do more damage, and it would be a whole lot more painful.
And they're known to fight
Vex.
giant squid. Yes,
And
exactly.
then the next thing will be from the sperm whale. Its infamous death-rattling clicks. So it will be able to use sound
The
to hurt Vex.
The sounds
Now,
of
that's not
death.
something I feel like it'd be a little easier due to Vex's
Your Poseidon
genome
is
of
a
whales
match
that
against
will
this,
mess
guys.
with them a whole
I
lot,
think so.
especially with a sonic blast that is capable of stunning or even killing things. So I feel like this dragon whale is really good potential. I'm really proud of it. Now for size, it is 48 tons and 61 feet long. And the
About the same size as as the male of my species, actually. And even though it's lighter, allowing it to go onto land, that's actually going to be interesting. But I'll be making the
temperature
video of
ranges it
this.
can tolerate is between 82 degrees and 40 degrees. But also can temporarily go into fresh water, well, like large bodies of fresh water, because it's a whale, along with the sense of the humpback DNA, and those tend to go in fresh.
Ah, there's a weakness. There is a wide range, but mine is better. Having brackish, fresh water, deep waters, even as cold as Antarctic waters, and even warm waters. So, yeah. My beast can outswim it with greater agility And yes, you can say there's a bit of venom involved in yours, but mine is designed to eat venom.
Water sometimes. An overall speed of 23 miles per hour. I mean, it's a whale. You expect it to be, like, fast? No. It also has gills thanks to the fish DNA.
Yep.
So that'll allow it
As
to
you
stay
do.
underwater
Makes
for
sense.
longer. So overall, we're really proud of it, and I hope you enjoy this Goji guy, and I'm really happy to have made this creature to face off Vex. I really love Vex's design, and overall, I enjoy Vex.
Hold
So,
on, let me
thank you
go
for-
ahead and click off of this. And 2.0. Oh no!
Do not worry, my creation. You will be avenged.
What happened here?
Carry on the name.
Okay, so apparently it didn't last long against Vex. Alright, a beast for me. Formed from the rage and ire of a slain abyssal tyrant, a creature hailed as the true lord of the seas, sent to smite a false prophet, responsible for the death of a monarch. Asunder! We'll see about that!
After the crushing defeat of Dracocetus 1.0 at Vex's fins, we at Parasite Genetic Tech have decided to revise said animal.
Hold on, now let me. Where is this guy? Hold on. I gotta find this guy. Where was this? Hold on. I gotta look this up. Okay. Okay. I misunderstood. This is the invisible trailer. Wait, maybe it was live? Hold on. Okay, it's definitely a few months ago. And new hybrids at work, retro. Great Hybrid War. Goji Final 16. Henry. Aha! Here we go! Let's have a look-see. Okay. Vex versus hybrids. Okay. Vex versus hybrids. Okay! Let's have a look.
Vex versus, I forgot the first word, I have it written down, but something Poseidantis, I believe is how you pronounce it. So, art here was done by Jay, one of my amazing artists. Go check her out.
Okay, he's eating.
Dinner nice.
Yep.
Most Sonic movie. Let's go ahead and look up Water Hybrid War. Hashtag Water Hybrid War. That's an at, not a hashtag, Ryan. Yep, already got a couple. For size, hunting, and packs. Ooh, I like. That's quick. And speed will also be used for teeth structure. All right. Use Barracuda. Why? Vex was dead, maybe. Nope. Got one. Glad I have one. Before we get into this, I can't draw and I really do my best. Sometimes please consider subscribing.
Okay. Fast forwarding a little bit.
A lot of me's. All right. Very good. Give me one moment, everyone.
Very crucial to our creature. It's slowing down Vex and allowing it to deliver a finishing blow. The next part of the genome will be lionfish. Lionfish will give our hybrid the spines, which will also have lionfish neurotoxin mixed in with the porcupine fish neurotoxin. This will be placed on the fins which will deter Vex from attacking said fins and make them very hard to get rid of, so they can't limit our animals' mobility.
Okay.
The fact that older specimens, if it were allowed to grow old enough, would develop barnacles. And thanks to this. Now for size, it is 48 tons and 61 feet long, and the temperature rate of the whale, along with the sense of the humpback DNA, and those tend to go in freshwater sometimes. An overall speed of 23 miles per hour. I mean, it's a whale. You expect it to be like fast. No.
All right.
It also has gills thanks to the fish DNA, so that'll allow it to stay underwater for longer. So overall, we're really proud of it, and I hope you enjoy this Goji guide.
Okay, what do you got to say for yourself?
I really like Vex's design, and overall, I enjoy Vex.
Very swag.
So, thank you for making this thing, and like this.
All right. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. How am I gonna do this? Let me. There we go. So I'm currently. You know, I have 3 screens, which is helpful. But it does still make it difficult. Quick test.
What's your verdict? Come on! The drums are still rolling!
Fine. Okay, let me unmute that down a little bit. Sorry, we're getting this ready, Chad. Who's ready for Vex's first battle, everyone? Who is
Do
excited?
it!
Who is excited to land? Are you? Are you excited to land? Let me get all this set up. All right. Welcome, 235 people. I'm going to attempt, very strong word here, to read this script live. Now, you're going to hear me stutter a lot. You're going to hear me mess up words and backtrack, because my videos are edited in a way where I talk perfectly. Spoilers, I do not talk perfectly. Overseer he has heard.
It's
many
okay, I
times
don't even
when
have a
read scripts
script.
to him as a proofreader. He has dealt with many, many hours of me messing up reading, so I will try my darndest, bestest, but let's get going. Let me try to get the good job voice. Someone go together. Here we go. I want to start off and say that Dracocetus Poseidantis is awesome. As good as Center loved Tank, I too love this big fish. He's an epic design with some super cool abilities, but with that being said, how does he hold up? Firstly, let's address this fella's biggest flaw. Firstly, this guy's speed and agility is greatly overestimated. While the humpback whale does add agility, the hybrid is still mostly Leviathan-based design with a huge body. Meaning, sure, he has the DNA of a humpback, but doesn't really reap its benefits. As humpbacks are agile due to many factors like their bills, bone structure, and fins. And in a day, this guy's Leviathan with extra steps. And let's say it did somehow move like a humpback. Well, humpbacks are agile as far as whales go. But doesn't mean they're turning on moment's notice. It'll struggle against smaller, faster predators, such as, take a guess, Vex. And finally, the oversized spikes on his fins would make swimming much harder, creating drag and resistance when swimming. Next is his spikes and toxins. As his hybrid is, oh my gosh, as his hybrid, one sec. As his hybrid has overcomplicated its defense. Toxin production requires massive food intake. Massive. Especially at this scale. The lionfish and porcupine fish have 2 different toxins, meaning this hybrid's body will need to produce and store multiple venom types. That would be an insane metabolic demand. To also add on, the porcupine fish, its spikes, aren't even poisonous. It's its flesh. But as good as to me, I must do to you. No takesy backsies. Your hybrid somehow produces toxins in its spikes and fins and not its flesh, greatly nerfing your hybrid and allowing Vex to bite willy-nilly. Next song. Next thing being that spikes on the sides, fins, and underbelly make it a loud swimmer. Any ambush potential, which was already minuscule, is now out the window. Another thing, stick with me now, as this one's a bit of a stretch, but would it even work? I mean, the Barracuda, one of Vex's main attributes, have eat lionfish no problem, as they've adapted to withstand certain toxins they found in their prey. Now, that's not to say Vex would take it like a champ. By all means, she would still be effective, but it wouldn't be the stroke-inducing, flesh-eating effect one may think. At most, it would give her a bad rash and some swelling in areas where she gets hit. But the question comes into play, would she? But more on that in a minute. And finally, again, I'm sorry, but I'm going to go to center you and take your word. As you say, thanks to lionfish, these big spikes right here could possibly impale Vex. Now, let's assume they can. Well, due to Vex's durability, That means these spikes would have to be almost bone solid, allowing no flexibility whatsoever. Which means a few things. Firstly, this would increase drag and noise even more, making it harder to swim and easier to hear. Secondly, it would run the risk of stabbing itself. Given where the spikes are and how the fins are positioned, if you move your fins in a certain way, this poor fish could end up stabbing itself.
That's why I have chosen sea slug for Poseidon. I did not use lionfish. I used pufferfish for the flesh. But, yeah. Again, that'll be a video for another time.
And Lord only knows what may happen if the toxins of the lionfish spikes stab into the poisonous spikes of a porcupine fish and nicks. And finally, sure, this thing could stab right through Vex, but at the same time, it can't. As the way they're positioned, the only way it could stab into Vex is if Vex herself decided, yeah, I'm gonna run into them. The next issue is a severe lack of versatile attack options. Now, this type of main attack would really only be side bashes, tail slaps, and ramming, which, while extremely powerful, they're very predictable. Even more so once Vex studies this thing. As despite her being promoted as a bloodthirsty killer, she's also extremely smart. So before this fight even starts, she would spend her time studying this beast, figuring out how it moves, and finding any potential weak spots in its most predictable attack style. Another thing being this guy doesn't really have any biting ability. Next song. Turn it down a little bit. Despite having a 21,000 psi bite, if it can't clamp down effectively, it loses a major edge. But what about the crazy attack of its death rattle? Well, a few things. Firstly, sperm whales can only do that due to their insanely specific design, which is due to way too many factors that I myself am not educated on. So I'm not going to try and explain every reason why, but to simplify, it's because they've evolved in a hyper-specific way that allows them to do that attack. A lot of which comes down to their head structure. And, well, if you look at the sperm whale and this guy, they're not the same. It's not going to work properly, and due to this guy's increased thick skin and increased bone density, it may even affect if he can echolocate at all. And the final main issue is he's too big, too loud, and hard to hide. At 48 tons, 61 feet long, it's an easy target for anything agile and smart enough to exploit his blind spots.
Well, there you have it. I guess it can't do the infamous death click. While Poseidon might be able to echolocate, it's generally not going to be doing that because of other factors. Instead, it's going to be using sense of smell, hearing, and sight. It can echolocate, but it probably won't.
But I can already hear me asking, what about his barnacles? My response, yeah, what about that? Sure, they help with the fact that it adds defense, but you need to keep two things in mind. One, Vex has grown up hunting, and also thanks to the orchid DNA, it would know not to slam into these. And two, what the barnacles will end up doing is covering some of the toxic spikes, which limits its already small potential it already had. Oh, I guess I messed up the script here. And three, it would just make this guy even louder when swimming, and create even more drag. So, we have a fish that ends up stabbing itself, has ineffective toxins, has a useless bite, is ineffective at swimming, and has an unimaginable metabolic rate thing. Yeah, good script here. Now, with that being said, let's not just say this guy doesn't have a few things Vex might have issues with. Now, Vex's only... Wow, I wrote this really late at night. Now, Vex's only means of doing much damage would be ramming into its weak spots, such as the eyes, gills, or jaw. While her bite would do damage, it wouldn't be a big factor against something that's large. Now, if this whale does play its card right, it could... There is a world where the whale is able to... I can't read. Or the whale would time it right. It could swing its head towards Vex as she comes into ram, breaking her snout, which would heavily disorient Vex and cause immense pain. So, with all that being said, how does Vex win? Well, as funny as it sounds, she can win via trolling. Stick with me here. Vex is built for battles like these. She can go weeks, even months without food, on cruise control that is, and at most go for a few days if locked in battle, thanks to her fat reserves from the beluga and the slower metabolic rate from the croc. So, she could just tire this thing out, keeping it locked onto her, but staying just out of reach. And due to this guy's size and toxic production, he'll begin to starve within hours. This guy's goal should have never been fighting, but it should have been eating. But my personal favorite way this guy could win is via tricking it into offing itself. Shout out to Tarbtana on Discord, aka Goody Center's Researcher. He proposed the idea of using the fact that this guy can go to freshwaters against it. Since these guys are battling on the coastline, Vex could very well trick it into following her into a river or stream, and either A, get into progressively more shallow waters until the whale can't move, or B, keep it near the beach and wait for the tides to draw back, literally beaching the whale. And boom, Vex really doesn't have to lift a single fin. Just wait for this guy to tire himself out and ensure an easy W.
That's the same strategy that my Abaddon Dragon would be using against larger opponents. One bite, flying away, spray, flying away, spray, and wait for the bigger opponent to basically off itself.
Oh, man. All right, there we go. That's a script. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of Big Whale? Ask some questions, because I had that.
Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and... Where did you put my hyper... Okay, here we go. So, now that we are all caught up with the lore here, let's see how our new rival fares.
Do not worry, my creation. You will be avenged by one to carry on the name.
Okay, that's cool that he did a comic. That is real. That's awesome.
After the crushing defeat of Dracocetus 1.0 at Vex's fins, we at Parasaur Genetic Tech have decided to revise said animal. And here is a brief breakdown. The revised Dracocetus that we at Parasaur Genetic Tech has been a project we've been working on to combat the environmental damage that hybrids released have caused. After Vex took out Dracocetus 1.0, we decided to reimagine the dragon whale. And with funding from the US government and other countries surrounding the Gulf of Mexico/America. The genome contains Basilosaurus, bottlenose dolphin, Arapaima, saltwater crocodile, prognathodon, and tarpon.
Okay!
First is methods of attack. This hybrid takes behaviors from Basilosaurus, prognathodon, and crocodile to be an ambush predator that aims for the head/other tactical attack points. Using its bone-crushing jaws,
it actually kind of does look like a Lagiacrus.
Bite force of 19,725.4 newtons and a posterior bite force of 29,039.7 newtons, along with a combination of ramming, tail slaps, and the famous death roll from the crocodile. Now defense. With the incorporation of Arapaima scales and salty osteoderms, his armored skin will resist blunt force impacts along with puncture wounds by absorbing and distributing the impact of the blows. The flexible scales will not hinder his mobility in combat nor cause drag. Now leading into our next category, speed. We use tarpon to slim down and give Dracocetus 2.0 a decent speed of around 38 miles per hour, which is plenty fast enough to ambush, along with swim circles around larger hybrids. Now for size of the animal. It will be 4 tons and 35 feet long, much smaller than the original. In this time, he won't be trolled to death, hopefully. One last thing, intelligence. The bottlenose dolphin not only helps with speed, but in intellect. Dracocetus 2.0 will have the brains to form creative plans for hunting, like stirring up sand, biting limbs used for combat/mobility, and going for vital areas. He will be a formidable foe for Vex and other hybrids, with the combination of his echolocation also given to him by the bottlenose dolphin. There is an interesting possibility with an encounter with Vex, since they do share oddly similar DNA structures in terms of their contributors that may allow for an interesting interaction that will not result in the death of either hybrid. But I'll save that after I run down some other hybrids that Dracocetus will fight.
Okay, Victoria. Yeah, I'm gonna be watching this haul through.
Dracocetus 2.0's first target was a hybrid codenamed Victoria that was causing problems for fishers by eating schooling fish en masse to keep up with the caloric demand of the creature's special abilities, like its regeneration from the axolotl. Dracocetus was guided to Victoria's location, where he stayed to the lower levels of the seafloor so he could ambush the hybrid. Using his superior echolocation, Dracocetus saw through her camouflage and swiftly took her out by crushing her head with his jaws before Victoria could have any chance to retaliate, and this was something she could not regenerate from. Now, why Dracocetus wins this fight, personally in my opinion, is just Victoria's DNA of look-down fish isn't the best for camouflage. Also, using vampire bat echolocation in an underwater setting, not the best either, along with crow for intelligence, because crows are air.
Crow DNA? You could have used whale DNA. Why would you use a bird that flies and walks on land in a setting that takes place underwater? Yeah, that... Context creatures, bro! Okay, moving on.
Animals, not aquatic animals. So that is why Dracocetus swiftly took out Victoria.
The Spinocroc.
Second target for Dracocetus was Spinocroc. That was harassing coastal towns and tourist destinations. Dracocetus 2.0 was lurking in the reef under Spinocroc as it was traveling to another seaside town. Assessing the situation, Draco knew that he had to cripple the hybrid before finishing it off. Draco first lunged and clamped onto the arm of Spinocroc, then with a crushing bite and a death all, the limb was torn off. Then Dracocetus backed off, leaving the animal to panic and chase while wasting energy before another attack to the other arm. Spinocroc was crippled and panicked, then was swiftly taken out with a well-placed bite to the throat. Now, Dracocetus wins this fight pretty easily. If Spinocroc did not get ambushed, it would have been a little bit harder for Dracocetus, given that, it had to deal with arms. So, its intelligence in fighting, giving that to...
The hybrid war in the seas has gotten intense. Okay, what's this other one? Hold on. The... Femi. What's this other one? Is that a swordfish?
The final hybrid targeted by Dracocetus 2.0 was a titan called Fishy. The fight was a long one, but Dracocetus used his superior speed and agility to swim circles around Fishy, taking chunks out of the titan, slowly wearing it down. Mid-fight, Dracocetus did a maneuver similar to one Vex pulled off on the original Dracocetus. A bash to the head that discombobulated Fishy, that sealed its fate. To finish the beast off by ripping into its gills, leaving it to bleed out and die to lack of oxygen. Now, why
Looks like there's
Dracocetus
tuna.
wins this fight too is Fishy's not really the most agile hybrid. Like, don't get me wrong, if Dracocetus got caught, it'd be, wraps. But
Yeah, Fishy actually looks like it's made out of tuna DNA. Hold on. I gotta see these other hybrids. Hold on. This actually got me curious. Where are the credits? Spider. Fishy. Huh. Well. Hold on. I've gotta look this up. There are a lot of things that I've gotta be checking out here. Yeah, it's Skylar! Okay. Well, hold on, okay, playlists. Okay, my own hybrids. Where is your plesiosaur? Pterosaur and marine reptile hybrids? Okay.
OG guy, and I'm just doing it for fun, and plus, I'm not making any hybrids based on land animals. I'm making hybrids based on sea and air, which is pterosaur and a marine reptile. Now, without any ado, let's get started. Now, for marine reptile based on facts, meet Ailey Titios. Her nickname will be Victoria. She's a hybrid of Plesiosaurus for face, Tyrannosaurus for size, Mantaray for flexible flippers and speed, Axolotl for regenerability, Whiptail Lizard for reproduce ace.
Is this what you hired me for? Is this what you're... I mean, mine has a long neck too, but mine actually has a lot of bulk within the neck. Okay, yeah, this has gotten really interesting. Hold on.
Actually, Crow for intelligence, and Lookdown Fish for camouflage, and Vampire Bat for
Create a
echolocation.
hybrid to rival your Abaddon the problem is, this is underwater. This is more like a Poseidon's subject here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do who is this other guy's name? Who is that? Yeah, this a Return of Legend. Who is this guy's name? I'll have to do what Para's been doing here.
And Farmhouse Dolphin for adapting both warm and cold waters. Now for a name I come up with means Invisible Seashore. Since she's part Lookdown Fish, for her skin, she'll blend in with water to make her look invisible. And
Maybe with the glaciers, but nah. I don't think so, buddy.
I did research, and some paleontologists did say some plesiosaurs do live near shore. That's why. And for her nickname, I just thought Victoria is common for naming girl. That's why, lol. Now for a pterosaur, meet Echinophilus. Her nickname is Summer. She's a hybrid of unpopular pterosaur was named after Econ from Avatar named Econ Drago for face, Rhomphoagus for tail stimulation, Tropeonophis for size, African Great Parrot for intelligence, Bald Eagle for eyesight, Drongos for mimic sounds of other animals and humans, Whiptail Lizard for reproduce asexually, just like Victoria, lol.
Yeah.
Quetzalcoatlus for strong wings, Ostrich for immune system, and alligator for regrow limbs and teeth. Now for a name I come up with is because Econ Drago and Tropeonophis, well, even it was inspired by Equan from Avatar, if you could tell the wings. And speaking of Avatar, Airi Taitios was inspired by Itlu from Avatar 2. So you could say I was inspired by Avatar for creating those hybrids. Lol.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I mean, there's a lot of flag about the Avatar series, Avatar franchise, but I actually like it. And although I really wish they decided to rebrand, like, maybe Pandora or Navi, that'd be nice. I mean, they're gonna be I can already see people saying, which Avatar? Is it Last Airbender or is it the blue people? That always confused me. Well, not me, but you get the point. And who is Fishy? Okay. Now I'm gonna look this guy up here. Okay. Alright. Did this guy... Is this made a video? That being new. Well... I guess I'm gonna have to cut this stream short. I mean, there are a lot of things I really gotta do. And it's definitely gonna be a long one for me, so hope you guys enjoyed the live react with me and all that jazz. It's given me a lot of notes and a lot of more reason to release Poseidon. So if you enjoyed this, and if you want me to go ahead and release a video properly for this monster to take on various hybrids, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that jazz, to become a very happy and lucky Ammonite today. And as always, I will see you at the next dive.